Again, I'm a voyeur, so I love it. I'll watch it. I don't,
It was
Yeah,
definitely.
sideshows that would come in and stuff. Do you still do those?
Yeah.
Oh, and the butterflies, before you get on, you're waiting in line.
Certified freak, 7 days a week.
I've been left abandoned to run the show, at least for now. What's up, shoppers? We got 2 early risers, it seems. I'm wondering could we call those premature commenters? We got Merce Sausage and Migote. Oh, looks like Marilu is getting ready to jump in here. Yay!
Like, woo, it's dark in here. It's even darker.
Yeah, but that purple glow behind you.
Oh, I'm like, it's like, yeah. I'm back.
Let's see. We got, okay, Merce Sausage, Migote, Julie, Bubbles, Chantel, Keith, and Big Bacchus in the house so far. I generally look forward to Mondays. I feel like it's almost like a Monday get together, like just getting to hang out and chit chat and talk about the week before.
That's cool.
You feel differently about it, Marilu?
No, I mean, I don't. I look at Mondays as it's our wind up, wrap up. Last week, start the new week out fresh and new. So,
Although I would suggest, Julie says that John's with them and their service is really spotty.
mm-hmm.
Understood. Big Becca says, I'm definitely not alone. So I guess we could jump right into, we said we jump in here to talk about the week previous and the upcoming week.
Sure.
Our week kind of started early last week.
To be honest with you, I don't know when our weeks start or end.
Well, that's true too.
Because it is just kind of like a plethora of running together from beginning to end. Because, I mean, we're always on.
It does seem like that.
It's very, how do I put it? Sometimes it's even when we say we're on vacation, we're not on vacation. Because we're still, being back up to the staff and seeing what they need and so forth. So it seems like the weeks never end.
They don't, and Mondays especially are busy. Just kind of Mondays are the day we talk about whatever happened over the weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and then start talking immediately about what the upcoming weekend or what things we need to do or change or update or fix or replace or
Exactly.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, 22 years of doing this, it just for me, otherwise feels awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, if that isn't there, the constant going, it feels a little awkward.
Ah, okay.
For me personally.
Mm-hmm.
So we eat, breathe, and sleep this.
That we do. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like It's even difficult to just put the phone down, because there's emails and this and that going on. So it's yeah, it's never ending.
Yeah, this is why there are only we so we'll talk we'll use this to segue into the naughty convention. One of the things for me with going to Naughty New Orleans is not necessarily about the pop and circumstance and the parties and the hooking up. It's connecting with our friends
Hmm.
who also operate within this space, whether it's other club owners or event operators, uh, hanging out with people from NCSF,
Hmm.
really connecting in those ways for me generally is a reset. It's talking about ideas and bouncing things off of each other and discussing best practices and things like that. Really, I have no audio.
Your audio is going in and out.
Okay. How about now?
Better.
Anyway, what's up, Jason? For anybody who's interested, you can read Jason's comment about his electricity. So,
What you were saying about Naughty Nolans,
no, I was just saying that for me, it ends up being a recharge. What about you?
um I think for the most part, yeah, it is recharge. It is getting able to see our, our friends, our true friends, and our industry friends, and you know uh, everyone that we've met over the years. For me, it's always fun when people just kind of like we'll be walking, and all of a sudden someone stops us, and it's like, oh my god, remember us from you know the club in Cleveland, and and it's like, oh my god, wow, I haven't seen those people for years. Well, obviously, in
Mm-hmm.
this case, they had moved away. Um, but it was, it's always fun when people, um, recognize us and come out and say hi and so forth, and it is a recharge.
Hmm.
No, definitely a recharge for what it is that we do. Business wise, it's a recharge. It's a okay. You know, new ideas, new things popping in.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to other industry people, what's going on in their neck of the woods and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely a recharge.
That's good. Was there anything specific, or what? Well, I guess let me rephrase the question. What were some of your what were some of the highlights for you?
Well, I don't want to say that because that's part of what we're going to talk about.
What,
You know,
that we are. Maybe I'm confused.
about like NCSF and naughty. So
Well, yeah. I mean, we're talking about it. We might as well talk about it.
okay, okay. Um, for me, I've always loved the sexual freedom parade.
Hmm.
So to actually be asked to be a part of it again this year and actually kind of usher the parade was a lot of fun. So, um, being and seeing you in what I call the big stage, um, and giving your doing your workshop slash seminar uh, was very fun and a proud moment.
Hmm.
You
Thank you.
know, which it was very well deserved on your end. So,
Thank you.
and of course, then my foodie aspect. I ate oysters every day, seafood every day. I had a great time. Got my bourbon puncheon, uh, my beignets, my crawfish. I mean, yeah, I hit all my foodie wants and needs while I was there as well.
Do you feel like there was something that you would have wanted to do, or that you did want to do that you ended up missing out on?
Um, excuse me. I don't, from the aspect that again, um, I separate what's business versus a like being a tourist and sightseeing and so forth. Um, I've been there to New Orleans enough that we've pretty much done everything except for actually going on one of like the swamp tours. That's the only thing we haven't done.
Would you do a swamp tour?
Heck yeah, why not?
Oh, wow.
I mean,
I'm going to say one word:
okay,
alligators.
that doesn't bother me.
Oh, getting eaten by an alligator doesn't bother you?
Oh, I mean, I'd push somebody else in the way. That would be my defense mechanism.
I actually believe that to be true.
But I mean, it's just like going to the zoo. There's, lions, bears, and oh my God.
I'm not sure it's exactly like going to the zoo. Those are in cages. When you're doing a swamp tour, aren't you on an airboat?
You can do both. You can do the ones they have the ones where you can do the airboat. Hi, Ronnie. How you feeling?
Ronnie, perfect timing. We're talking
Yeah.
about New Orleans swamp tours and whether or not. Well, first of all, have you done one? And if you have, would you do it again? And or would you do it with Marilu if you haven't?
Oh, that means you wouldn't do it, G.
I'm not. You're putting words into my mouth. I
Oh.
just am checking in with Ronnie to see if he would do it with you.
But no, you have there's several swamp tours. You can do the ones where you just go to like the farm or whatever, the area, and they have the whole thing where they do the little um the exhibitions of them like wrestling the gators and this and that and whatever. And then you have the one that's the actual swamp tour going through on the airboats or the small boats. Yeah.
Yeah, listen, that's one of those things that I would likely do, not without a little trepidation, because shit happens. Accidents happen, and there are alligators. So, Widgets says they would never go on a swamp tour with you, Mary Lou. No, we talked about it, Ronnie. Ronnie asked if we did the trolley tour, and
Yeah.
we talked about it briefly, but that is something I would like to do.
Mm-hmm.
Ronnie had recommended it.
Yeah. Haven't done the ghost tour either.
Would you do a
But
ghost tour?
yeah, why not?
Because for some people that might be a no. That's why not.
I mean, hey, I'm okay with my ancestors.
They ain't all your ancestors.
Oh, they may not all be, but I know what
Okay, so Ronnie's going down a road here.
Yeah.
Graveyard tour. Would you do a graveyard tour, say midnight, 1:00 in the morning?
Yeah.
Oh, not such an enthusiastic yes there, is there?
I mean, I mean, I guess from my aspect, it was like, I'm up for doing it if and should something happen while we're on it, then that's one thing. But I'm, open to going. I mean, whether it's at 1 in the afternoon, like we did the tour, the self tour in Buenos Aires in Argentina, or whether it's 1 in the morning.
I'm just going to say right now. Okay, yes, the one that we did in Argentina, Buenos Aires, yes, was cool. Would I do that at 1:00 in the morning? Absolutely not.
What's going to happen at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Your imagination runs wild, and every fucking noise you hear and creak and shadow that lurks around the corner, you're gonna shit your pants.
Speak for yourself.
Oh, listen, I'm going to play brave right now.
No, I mean, I'm I'm totally from the concept of I'm open to anything. You know, my anxiety might get in the way of some things, you know, as it gets closer.
Like
But
closer to midnight, walking into the graveyard.
you know, yeah. Oh no, Ronnie, that would make it worse.
Yeah, I don't know about
For
that
G,
either.
that would make it worse.
Yeah.
Thank you, Big Bacchus.
Well, yeah, I think that's probably the other point too. Is there might be some weirdos in the graveyard
Thing.
at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but I'm not opposed to it. I would do it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to. I'm not completely opposed to it. There are
You're completely
circumstances in
opposed?
which I might do it. I've just not investigated those with enough veracity.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So okay, so you got your foodie stuff in.
Uh-huh.
You got your beignets. You got your cafe au lait. We actually got that. There's a little garden restaurant just a couple blocks down from the Astor Hotel that you and I have
Mhm.
gone to quite a few times.
Yeah.
We did only end up going once this week, but we went there nice and early, and it was like really quiet. The sun hadn't really come out yet, so it was nice and cool. So it was really nice to sit out on that
Yeah.
and have
It's
some
nice
coffee.
and cool, and you know, the little birds are out. It's like yay.
Ronnie's wanting us to plug next week, 2 weeks from now. Well, trust me, Ronnie, we're going to get to it. No, wait a minute. Widget says they would definitely go on the graveyard tour, but they would avoid the alligator tour.
Yeah. And the park that you're talking about is the Musical Legends Park with the statues.
Okay, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that was really nice.
Yeah. It's nice and quaint. The prices are right.
Hmm.
You know, so yeah.
Was there anything specific, or maybe a better question would be, um, what is something you learned there that you didn't know before you went, or figured out, or discovered? Any
About New Orleans in itself,
in
or
general, the convention, New Orleans, you know.
um the new oral HPV test.
Hmm.
That was interesting for me.
How so?
Well, because you know, for years and years and years, we've always been told that the only way to test for HPV is through a pelvic exam, cervical,
Hmm.
you know, a pap smear, and that you can't test men. But no one's ever talked about oral HPV until now. In the last couple of years, there's been a resurgence of throat cancer, cancers of like on your tongue, uh, all due to HPV.
Oral cancers, right?
Yeah. So the fact that a lab actually came out with a test for oral HPV to me was like, wow, that's awesome.
I'm pulling it up right now. I'll put the link in the.
Mm-hmm.
They are. Let's see. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
So the website is stdhero.com.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Um, and yeah, so based on what they're saying is that they are the only lab in the country that
Mm-hmm.
they're aware of that actually screens oral HPV with an at-home
Mm-hmm.
test.
Yeah. And it's an oral rinse.
Mm.
So it actually comes like in a little test tube. You you swish it in your mouth for so many minutes, and then you spit it back into the tube, put it back in the mailing envelope, and boom, there it is.
Well, one of the things that I found interesting, we did attend a seminar. Now we did actually meet with the owners, and
Hmm.
they really know their stuff when it comes to this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to avoid telling their story because we're going to invite them actually on the
Hmm.
live stream soon,
Yes.
so they can tell their story and how they got involved with this. Uh, but what I found interesting, one of the things, and I may be misquoting a little bit here, but what I understood is that even those with the non-cancerous versions of, actually, first of all, most people shed the virus completely after 2 years.
Correct.
There's a small percentage of people who do not, but there are also a very small, I think it's 2 actual strains that cause oral cancer,
Hmm.
or that can cause oral cancer. So I think the
That's
recommendation was to test once every 2 years.
That was their recommendation. Yes. If you've tested positive
Correct.
for it originally, you should test again in 2 years
To see if you shed it.
to see if you have shed it. If you have never tested positive, you should continue to test on a normal basis as you would with any other STI.
Right. That makes sense.
Okay. Because it's HPV 16 and 18 are the ones that have the potential for causing oral cancer. So on the HPV. But yeah. So that was kind of like, whoa, hey, wait a minute. When did when did this testing start? This is new. And lo and behold, yeah. you know.
Um, so in the seminar that we went to, I want to share this, and this is what I
Hmm.
thought was really a good thing. Statistically, 20% of the U.S. population has had or has an STD. That number for people in the lifestyle is dramatically lower.
Hmm.
Because the type of testing and stuff they do, they have access to more statistics. But in generally in the more alternative lifestyles, it's 3 to 5%,
Hmm.
um, and that sort of tracks because we do the testing here at the club, and people care about their health, so they do test more often, and
Hmm.
therefore, if people do end up positive in some way, shape, or form, instead of spreading it around unknowingly, they're testing on a regular basis and then getting treatment for.
Right.
So um,
And
I know
that's
that's
getting.
always a concern for people,
Hmm.
entering into this for the first time is, am I exposing myself to an increased risk?
Right.
You were going to say something. I interrupted.
No, no, go ahead.
Okay.
I basically was going to say the same thing you
Oh,
started to say, so I was like, "What, Luke?"
well, yeah. I mean, and that certainly makes sense. And for those who, and I think I would probably think the same thing if I didn't know these things already, if I didn't know that people
Hmm.
were generally safer. And it makes sense because um, if you're, I don't want to say it's like jumping out of an airplane without a parachute, but
Hmm.
I would say it's like jumping out of an airplane without a backup chute.
Yeah.
You know, if you're using condoms and practicing safer sex in other ways, um, whether it's with, PEP products or PrEP or whatever, um,
Hmm.
condom use really does effectively cut it down to close to zero. I
Right.
say close because it's usually 99, 98%.
Hmm.
So, you're doing all of those things, your risks are dramatically less,
Right.
and only slightly more than if you're in a completely monogamous relationship.
Hmm.
So, speaking of,
Yes.
Big Bacchus is asking about Central Outreach this weekend at the club. I am 99% sure they are going to be here this Friday at the club. I will confirm that.
Hmm.
That was the intent. I'll just verify that it is on the schedule this week, and I'll do that tomorrow, and we can make a post about it.
Okay, cool.
So thank you for the reminder, Big Bacchus.
Yes.
So yes, testing is super important. Generally speaking, I get my testing done through Central Outreach when they're here.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing it every month, although there were some times I would skip just because, my situation doesn't change much in that regard. But when things are more active, I try to do it every month. In this case, we'll more likely be every other month when they're here,
Mm-hmm.
unless I do something from STD Hero.
Yeah.
So, what else?
Um, I think that was the one thing that kind of stood out for me, and having gone to the seminars and talked to different vendors and stuff, that was the one that was really of interest
Hmm.
to me to begin with, So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Any other vendors pique your curiosity or interest?
Um, well, I got something from the unicorn shop.
The fat unicorn.
Uh-huh. It was something actually. So, the fat unicorn as a vendor had actually popped up on my Pinterest
Hmm.
account as someone to follow. And so I did. I started following them, and they had actually noted that they were going to be in Pennsylvania when we did the last Freaky Flea in February. So I reached out and I was like, I don't know what area of Pennsylvania you're going to be in, but if you're in the Pittsburgh area, I would love to invite you to come to the club and so forth. I was very intrigued by um, the items that they had for the dungeon. So unfortunately, they weren't going to be anywhere near Pittsburgh. Um, so I kind of let it go. And then when I saw that they were one of the vendors at Naughty, I was like, oh my God, I get to see them. Ah! And it was funny. I don't know if you noticed, there was somebody at the airport when we were there yesterday that
Mm.
actually had their bamboo canes sticking out of their
Oh, I did
suitcase.
notice that. Yes.
Yeah, their suitcase. And I was like, they let them through security with that? Because it was the one with the pointed end,
Uh huh.
and they had like the little, like tacks sticking out of it.
Uh huh.
So I'm like, hello, if that is not a weapon, I can't believe it. They let them through security with that in a carry-on bag. But hey, but
Hmm.
anyway, yeah, they were one of the vendors that when I saw they were going to be there, that I was excited to see, because I knew there were a couple of items for their stuff that I had seen, of all things, again on Pinterest, that intrigued me.
Hmm.
So I was a happy camper to see what they had, and to make a purchase.
Hmm. Doesn't seem like you're willing to show what your purchase was.
It's in the other room, but I can go out.
Only if you want to. I don't know if these guys want to see it. Maybe they're not interested.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, of course, Mary Lou disappears. So I basically I had a really wonderful time at Naughty in New Orleans. Uh, Mary Lou mentioned that I got to do the Would You Mind workshop / seminar. It was more of a seminar than a workshop, which was really great. About 70 people showed up for that, which was really surprising. I kind of expected about a half a dozen people. Whoa,
Well, what?
what you got there, Mary Lou?
My new toy. I don't know if you can actually see the whole thing on here.
Yeah.
Can you really see the whole thing?
What else do they do?
Well, they're nubby, they're stubby. You can have it be 5 totally loose
Mm-hmm.
ends to it, or rearrange. and slide it down, and it makes it one big thuddy.
Hmm. It's a flogger, John.
Yes,
A very unique one.
yes, very unique, very thuddy, with little strobe lights as they make impact. So yeah, so my cool. Yeah. Oh, and it does have a little dick on the end, little holder. But yeah,
I thought
that
they
was cool.
squeaked.
Huh?
I thought they squeaked.
They do, but you got to hit something hard for them to all of a sudden squeak. And of course, I can't make them squeak now.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, but either way, that was my toy. And then, of course, G's walking with it through the airport in a bag. And every time he walks in a certain direction or a certain way, all the lights start going off on it. So his little backpack was like, bleep, bleep, bleep.
Hmm. It was definitely more apparent as we were on the last leg on the flight back from Chicago
Yeah.
because it was dark and dark in the plane. So every time the plane would bump or something, or I'd kick it, the little things would start flashing in the bag. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry, John. Um, I figure that'll go along with your squeaky toy ball gag.
Yeah. You know, just something new, something different. So,
Hmm.
yeah. So, I was,
I wonder if anybody would let you use that on them this Friday, Freaky Friday.
uh,
What do you think?
oh,
I don't know. Any volunteers? Anyone want to get squeaky toyed? That is so ridiculous.
but it's so cool. I mean, okay, think of it this way, G. They had two types of these. They had the ones with the squeaky balls and the nubbies,
Mm-hmm.
which are sharp. They do hurt. Okay. And then they had the ones where it was a straight up ball with it was weighted, you know. So I think the weighted one would have caused more injury um rather than this one. But
So I don't hear an option C in there, which is neither.
I mean, for me, no, there if you're gonna say that's what you want, it's one of there's option A and option B.
So you're
There's
saying it was one or the other.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm glad you picked that one.
Uh-huh.
Although I'm not sure I want a Swiss cheese butt, or in this case, it might be hamburger butt with the with the spikes, like a
Yeah.
meat tenderizer.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this one's a little more on the yeah. My only thing is I have to let anyone know when I'm using it if they have photosensitivity or not because of the lights. But
They can just close their eyes.
yeah, or blindfold them. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
might as well.
Well, so far you have two immediate volunteers.
Yeah. And yeah, Bacchus, that's exactly what G was saying while we were looking at them. He's like, "Oh my god, these would be great for a glow party."
Yeah. Um, if you're interested in something like that, I sent. Well, actually, I went to their website, their Etsy page, and it says that they are taking a break right now. I think,
FatUnicornCreations.com.
yeah, I think that's what I found. They
Well,
they
this
had a
is
ton of
festival.
stuff at Naughty.
Yeah, this is their festival season.
Yeah,
So what they have or what they're making is specifically for what they're doing. You know what festivals are going to or whatever.
yeah.
But I love how on their little price tag, uh, it's it doesn't say that this is the price. It's like the adoption fee.
The adoption fee.
Yeah, because you're adopting a fat unicorn.
Yeah. So they do literally handcraft those. They were working on that.
Yeah,
Um,
like literally, they were talking to us, and at the same time they were
hand
threading and yeah, and making one right there. Well, like not even looking at it, just like doing it as they were talking to us about their
Mhm.
product line. So yeah, that was so that was my like yay. Mhm. My new prize possession.
So what else? What else did you enjoy about Naughty?
Um, the parties were great, of course. The themed parties at night. Those are always a lot of fun, and I love the fact that they, one hotel is your dungeon hotel, and that's the one that's got everything that has to do with BDSM and so forth. Um, and then the main hotel is the one that's got the two huge ballrooms, and each one is playing their own set of music. Like one is a EDM room, and one is pop top 40s. Um, and so that it gives everyone an option
Right.
of the type of music that they want, where they want to be, and so forth. So that's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you still had the entertainment on the main level. Because you had like Jen Porter, Mark Mays. Uh, they had the bingo. One night, speed dating another. So a lot of options, definitely. Yeah. What about you?
To be blunt, it was primarily about being there in a good energy state,
Hmm.
being with our friends, being able to just kind of relax. I mean, I'm glad my seminar was on Thursday. That way, I didn't have like additional days of dread, waiting for it to unfold. That I really that was, I won't say the highlight, but it's definitely up there. Spending time with friends was really the highlight.
Hmm.
So, um, we were talking earlier about eat, sleeping, and drinking this all the time. For me, going and hanging out in the in the pandemonium of the EDM music or the top 40 music and the music blaring and having to literally yell across from each other to have conversations is less fun for me, just because we do this virtually every single weekend. So for
Hmm.
me, being in the quiet, having conversation, connecting with people that way, that's really the part that does it for me.
Hmm.
um, that's not to say that I didn't enjoy it. I did enjoy it, and you and I had a couple of fun adventures. I think one was being caught in a rainstorm, like a literal, what seemed like a hurricane at the time. Walking back from one of the restaurants.
Yeah, the tropical storm that hit all of a sudden. That's what the guy, the valet, was like. Oh, this is just a tropical storm. Oh, nothing major.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be like a quick little 5 minute thing. It was 35 minutes of torrential, Noah's Ark type
Yeah.
downpour. So
And
much so
yes,
that,
go ahead.
well, you like to tell this part of the story.
No, no, you can because
So,
you're the one that saw it.
well, we were standing under an awning, talking to the concierge or bellhop there at the front door, and I'm looking across the street, and it's just, first of all, the street is literally flooded. It's, there's no water going down the
No,
sewers.
no. In fact, the sewers were all spitting up water.
Yeah, like
They were like
a
individual
geyser.
little water fountains, little geysers at every manhole. It was just ridiculous to see.
So I'm looking across the street, kind of catty corner, and I see this. At first, I thought it was just a piece of wood or something, but it was moving the opposite direction of the water. So I thought, well, that's not wood, and it's not a leaf, or it's not a bag. And come to realize, it was a rat that had jumped out of the sewer and was trying to escape the water. So
I'm
it
drowning.
was trying to jump up onto the building to escape the water, and yeah, that was interesting.
Oh, that was the moment of like, yeah, we better start walking before Mark come out.
Yeah, so we spent a good 30 minutes standing underneath a little awning, trying to not get wet, and then we were late for a meeting that we were supposed to be at, so we ended up kind of,
Going through it anyway.
yes. So we were a little wet, and not in the good way.
Yeah. Mhm. But it was one of our fun little adventures.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
So yeah, it was good. It was
Yeah.
good.
Always a good time.
Um, I'm not entirely sure if we're going to go next year. I know that next year there's the Eroticon in Atlanta, which is in August,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a conversation about that this weekend, and we are 100% planning on being there.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to pull up the website here.
Okay.
Actually, yeah, if you go to eroticon.com, it's actually on our website also. We will be at that next year. That's going to be in Atlanta, and I think the dates are August 6th through the 9th, maybe.
August 6th through August 9th. Yes.
Yes, that's 2 weeks before my birthday,
I know.
so not quite my birthday weekend, but close enough.
Mm-hmm. But yeah. That is.
Yeah. So, but I say this every time about Naughty in New Orleans. I think if you're in the lifestyle, or lifestyle adjacent, and you're interested in that sort of thing, it's one of those things that you should put on your bucket list and do it at least once. So we did see some members there
Yeah, we did.
this year, so which was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what else did I like? That was about it. Actually, not officially working. Yes, obviously check-ins and stuff, throughout, especially on Friday and Saturday, while we're operating. But by and large, sort of being disconnected from that mostly was nice.
Mm-hmm.
It's the first time, other than the workshop, that you and I have been there that we weren't actually working there as volunteers also.
Right. It was funny to see some couples that have seen us in previous years when we're doing the volunteer program or the safer sex program in the playrooms. And so for to see us and be like, what are you guys doing out in the open? I thought you'd be in the playrooms. Aren't you working? Aren't you this? Aren't you that? And we're both like, nope, not this year. They're like, well, who's taking care of things if you're like new regime? Nope, not
Yeah,
us.
there was a little bit of ball busting, like, why
Yeah.
aren't you upstairs working?
Yeah,
I'm not,
no.
so nor will I. But no, that is one thing that Naughty in New Orleans does offer, just like the shop,
Mm-hmm.
which are volunteer opportunities for those that, maybe this is a little pricey. You, in that case, you would obviously just pay for your travel and hotel. So they do have that option.
Mm-hmm.
And just a reminder, the club has that option as well.
Yes.
If if money or the price is a barrier for you, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to experience the club, and you can do that through volunteering opportunities. And Marilu, you guys kind of run the volunteer program. What do they typically get if somebody volunteers for a night? I know John and Julie have participated. They can even.
So our volunteer program works off of points.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, volunteering for one event gets you entry or enough points to get a ticket for another event. And if it's a couple, then you get enough points for both of you to attend. another event. So that's always a great way.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, and it helps us. And typically,
Mhm.
volunteers will do one of two responsibilities. Um, as some of you know, the club has what are called safer space monitors,
Mhm.
who help basically oversee the areas of the club where people are in vulnerable position, potentially in vulnerable
Mhm.
places. The dungeon, there are monitors in the dungeon. They look for specific types of looking for signs where there may be issues or trouble.
Right.
And so you'll have those opportunities. Or if that's above where how you want to participate, you can do something as simple as cleaning. I was having
Mhm.
a conversation before we left with somebody, and they'd asked, if there were one job to do here, what would you do? And I said, cleaning. It's literally the easiest. It's the easiest job there is to do here.
It is.
And I know some people are like, ew, yuck. It's literally not like that at all. So,
Mhm.
and anything that's really yucky, me and Mary Lou end up cleaning up. Or poor Teresa and Chelsea.
Uh-huh.
We've had some really super duper interesting cleanups, but
They have been crazy. That is true.
yeah, John says the volunteer program is very worthwhile for both the points and the experience and the safer sex practices.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those are just ways that people can attend the club.
Right.
Um, so I wanted to make a couple of. We're going to talk about this weekend coming up. We do have an event
Mhm.
on Wednesday.
Yes, we do.
It's our game night.
Mhm.
This is a free event for club members. So if you are already an approved club member, you can attend the game night. It looks like it's going to be pretty busy, actually.
Yeah, it does.
Are there any particular games that you enjoy?
Um. Hmm. Uh. I'm like a Cards Against Humanity kind of person. Yeah, I'm not into the Dungeons and Dragons and that kind of stuff. I want a simple slam dunk. There, I won. I'm moving on.
So you need a game with a definitive outcome, like playing Connect Four at your mom's house last weekend.
Yeah, we did do that, didn't we?
So we're last last Sunday we were at, was it Sunday? Yeah.
Yeah,
This is Fourth of July
Fourth
weekend.
of July
We're
weekend.
at Mary Lou's mom's, and she breaks out the Connect Four, and um, mom, if you're watching, I'm really sorry, but she comes out with, "Oh, I beat Manny all the time playing Connect Four." Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
So she did win the very first game, but she did not win many after that.
No, she did not. Plus, also, she's the one that gave Manny the rules on how to play Connect Four. So they were a little skewed.
Yes, probably to her favor.
So I was just kind of like, Mom, that's not how you play it. It's how Manny and I play it. Okay, well, but that's not the official rules. I don't have the rules anymore in
Yeah,
the game.
you can't look them up online or anything.
I was like dying laughing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, sure, Mom.
So yeah, Wednesday is going to be game night. There are going to be various things available. I do not have the list in front of me. I do apologize, but
Mm-hmm.
there will be different options. I know there are going to. I'm fairly
Mm-hmm.
certain there's going to be Dungeons and Dragons. Um, there's going to be a console plugged into the TV with various types of video games, cards, and if you're not into playing games, you just want to socialize,
Yeah.
totally fine. This is intended to be a
Mm-hmm.
social event
Yeah.
for
And for
people.
those of you that aren't into like games, we have puzzles
Yeah,
as well. So
yeah. There's I think like a Jenga thing, and
yeah. an actual like 1,000-piece puzzle
Yeah.
to put together kind of
We
thing.
do have a cornhole game. If the weather's nice,
Yes.
if it's not raining, we can put that out on the deck maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. So we've got that going on this weekend. Or this Wednesday, not
This Wednesday, yeah. Not the weekend, Wednesday. Mhm.
however, this weekend, I wanted to go over a couple of changes that we're going to be making and are making for this weekend coming up. Specifically, it's going to apply to mostly new members. And so, beginning Friday, new members can show up as early as 7:30 to participate in a new member orientation, so to speak. We're finding that people are coming at various times, sometimes later in the evening, and it becomes more difficult to give tours and go over all of the things that need to be gone over while there's a bunch of activity and stuff going on. The music's blaring, going through the play areas, activities going on, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep going. So if you have,
Okay. I'm stepping out for a second. Be back.
yep. So to be able to go over those things a little early. So on Fridays, moving forward, starting this Freaky Friday, and we're going to be updating the website to reflect this. New members and our VIP members can show up as early as 7:30. We'll do the orientation about 7:40. It's going to take about 10, maybe 15 minutes. But with that, you'll get a little bit of a would you mind crash course at the beginning, along with a full tour of the facility. Again, this is for new members. We'll be doing the same thing on Saturdays at 8:30. So 30 minutes before we open. Brand new members, these are people that have never attended a shop event before, will be able to come in at that time. So that's actually starting this weekend. And again, we'll make those updates on the website. So that said, I might as well just tell you what this weekend's events are. This weekend on Friday is Freaky Friday. I want to talk a little bit about Freaky Friday and some of the differences between that and Deviancy and our regular curated events. When the club started doing Freaky Friday 8 years ago now, I think it was really intended to be a very kink-centric event. It was one of those events where that was catering specifically to the kink and BDSM community, kink, fetish, and BDSM. And over time, that's evolved. We, at one point, added 2 events, Deviancy, the first Saturday of the month, and kept Freaky Friday. We used to only have the dungeon open on those events. And over time, the dungeon has evolved. It's been expanded, moved, expanded more. And so we have a pretty lively kink community as a part of the club. One of the things that we'd like to do is sort of refocus our energies into things like Freaky Friday and Deviancy because they are more kink focused, to know that when you're attending those events, you are going to see more of that. We want to try and push more of the heavier aspects of kink and BDSM into Freaky Friday and leave the rest of those Fridays and Saturdays. The dungeon will be open, but leave those nights to be more aligned with, I don't want to say sensual domination, but more of maybe the softer aspects of it. Obviously still flogging and spankings and all of that stuff. But some of the really heavier bondage scenes we want to start pushing back towards to Freaky Friday. It can just be sometimes a bit much. It's not to say that you can't do it, but just some scenes are not going to be permitted during regular Saturdays and stuff like that, especially the more extreme, intense scenes. Hey, welcome back.
Hey.
So I was just talking a little bit about Freaky Fridays and sort of
Yes.
refocusing our energies towards those heavier, more kink-centric aspects of BDSM to Freaky Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, as the week evolves, we'll put more of this information out. This was literally just discussed today. So you're getting a very raw version of this.
Mm-hmm.
So just know that these things are coming. Um, this Saturday is the Splash takeovers, which are the
Mm-hmm.
people who are putting on Eroticon
Yes.
in Atlanta next year. This is a Splash Takeovers sponsored event, and it's
Mm-hmm.
the Splash Takeovers Beach Party. Now, last year we did it as Splash Takeovers Pool Party, and we had the big pool with outdoor games and stuff like that where people are getting wet. And so we decided to dial it back this year a bit and just have it be a beached theme event.
Mm-hmm.
However, Mary Lou wasn't present for this conversation, but based on a conversation you and I had previously about the barbecue on Friday, the 4th of July barbecue,
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if it would be a terrible idea to have not an impromptu, but have a scheduled water balloon fight on the deck Saturday for the Splash Pool Party.
We can do that. I
Appar-
have the water balloons.
Well, apparently, according to Chelsea and Teresa, there's some sort of apparatus that you put onto a hose spigot that literally can do 100 balloons at the same time.
Like I said, I have them. I have the water balloons and said apparatus
Oh,
already.
okay, because I only heard you say the balloons. I didn't hear you say the
Yeah,
apparatus.
yeah. I have it. I have it all.
Okay, well, I don't
So
know.
it's an
Something to
easy
think
one.
about.
Well, it's in fact I had them for uh the 4th of July event, which is why I took out the little mini pool holder uh to throw them in, but we never got that far
We didn't. We didn't.
in
So
the day. So yeah, I have those balloons readily, and the filler upper readily available for the beach party.
maybe we'll do it something like. So I'm thinking it might look something like a strip poker or dodgeball, where if you get hit with a water balloon, you have to take off an article of clothing.
Not on the deck.
No, I know.
And through the TV. No.
Through the TV.
The computer, your phone,
Yeah.
whatever.
Anyway, what I didn't tell you is that we do have a gift certificate from Splash Takeovers for that event as a giveaway. So
Awesome.
we'll make some announcements about that later on in the week.
Cool.
So.
That sounds fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, so the last thing I'm going to talk about, since Rock and Ronnie was on here
Mm-hmm.
and said and mentioned it,
Yes.
in 2 weeks is Ravegasm, and we have both Rock and Ronnie and DJ Illis Rich coming in for that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Illis Rich will be DJing on Friday night, more of a techno EDM type event. Same thing, glow sticks, all of that. And then I think Ronnie and Illis will be both DJing on Saturday night. They had talked about doing a tag team.
Yes, they're going to tag team East Coast versus West Coast.
Yes. So you guys are going to have to decide who spun it better. So, and if there's a draw, they'll have to arm wrestle to see who actually wins.
There you go.
So
I think it's going to be a great night. I love both of them. I love their DJ styles. Each one of them comes with something different,
mhm.
you know. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the two of them together.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Just as a quick note, we were talking a little bit about Freaky Friday and Deviancy and that. A
Mm-hmm.
quick reminder that in 3 weeks is Naughty Affair is back. That's August 2nd. We had that back in May, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doubling the amount of rope we're purchasing for that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Everyone was very interactive. Everyone wanted to get, a tie done on them, whether it was like a corset or a halter or some type of tie. Everyone jumped on that the minute they walked in the door. I think we went through how much rope in less than 2 hours?
90 minutes. I think it was 75 minutes. They tied 1,000 foot of rope.
Wow.
There was, I think, 4 or 5 what do we call them? Rope tires?
Yeah, riggers.
Riggers, excuse me. Yes, thank you. Riggers from Rope Bite PGH.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did all the tying. And so they are coming back. We did double the amount of rope for this one. It's going to be 2,000 feet of rope.
Awesome.
So,
Yay.
yeah, so that'll be in 3 weeks. So, but I don't want to jump too far ahead.
No.
Anyway, Mary Lou, anything else you wanted to touch on before we officially sign off?
No, I think we covered quite a few things. So.
All right, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
I want to remind people that the club does have a on-site board certified sexologist who does also happen to be the woman sitting above me. If you are a member of the club and you're have some curiosities about the lifestyle, or maybe there's some challenges in your relationship, or you're looking for love in all the wrong places, you can visit marilouandyou.com and book an appointment to speak with a board certified sexologist who does specialize in alternative relationship styles, kink and BDSM. Great resource for you, for the people here at the club. That is included. You do have a 20-minute get to know you free club members. So, and so that's something you can take advantage of. If you have had an interest in attending the club but have yet to pull the trigger, you can visit bodyshoppittsburgh.com, click the Apply Now button, fill out your application, watch the CAP video, which is the club's basically consent video. I'm going to touch on this really quick. Ohio just passed legislation that is that is going to require age verification before accessing any sort of pornography. That goes into effect September 29th. So when you apply to become a member of the club, because you do get access to other member pics and profiles, or profiles and pics, you will have to submit age verification. So that is a part of the application process. Sorry that it is that way. It's just a requirement at this point. So, so we do have a winner, and I need to go and pull that up.
Can't hear you.
What?
Your chair is going back, so we can't hear when you're.
Okay. Anyway, yes, we did pick a winner, although I do have to verify their username before I say it. So we will send that out. We'll put it on the news feed. What I am going to tell anyone who did dress up and took a picture at the photo booth, they are all getting bonus points. We are giving out 2,500 bonus points for everybody who dressed up for the costume, or for in theme, any individual member, and 5,000 shop points for a couple. So, and those will expire after a year. You'll be able to use them at virtually any event or to renew your membership. So,
Yay!
Anyway, we'll make that announcement on the live stream as soon as I verify their username. Forgot to do that before we went live.
Okay.
Anyway, anything else, Mary, before we hit the let's get out of here button?
No, I think we are good to go.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we appreciate you guys watching tonight, just like every Monday night, especially those of you who are here every single week. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. If we don't see you this Wednesday at game night, or Friday or Saturday this weekend at Freaky Friday or the Splash Takeovers pool party, or beach party, we will be here next Monday at 8:05 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Certified freak, 7 days a week. That wet ass pussy good. My pull-out game weak. Ooh, yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Swimming in it, baby. I'ma bring a bucket and a mop, darling. Give you everything I got. I'm falling. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Pussy. Beat it up, catch a charge. Extra large and extra hard. Put your pussy in my face. Swipe my nose like a credit card. I'm on top, you wanna run. Do a giggle while listen. Spit in your mouth, girl, while you're looking in my eyes. Your pussy is wet, I'ma take a dive. I'ma tie you up like you're a prize. Let's go play, I'll wear disguise. I'ma park my Mack truck in your garage. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Swimming in it, baby. Yeah. I'm fucking with that wet ass. Pussy. Gobble me, swallow me, drip it down inside of me. I gotta jump out before it gets inside of you. Tell me where to put it, but don't tell what you about to do. Talk your shit, baby, bite your lip, girl. Ask for a car while you riding that dick. Oh, I'm on top, you wanna ride. Do a giggle while it's inside. Spit in your mouth, girl, while you're looking in my eyes. Your pussy is wet, I'ma take a dive. I'ma tie you up like